Hey, what's up guys, my name is Dhruv Almudi and welcome to another Photoshop video tutorial. And this video is going to be about a basic photo manipulation. So this can be a beginner to intermediate Photoshop tutorial, and since it's a basic intermediate tutorial, I'm gonna use a PNG file. Actually it's a TIFF file, and you will not have to remove the background. When you will open, it will look something like this, but it's separated from the background, so it can be really easy to use. And to download this image, the link is in the description. It's totally free. It's from deviantart.com. And for the background, I'm gonna use this image. This is also a ready-made stock from the deviantart.com, and I'm just gonna create a new document and paste it here. And to start this tutorial, first of all, I'm gonna bring this image of this girl inside this document. Now I'm just using this resolution of this background image, but if you want like higher resolution or something, you can find another stock. There are many. So I'm just gonna show you that how I got this manipulation. So like this, the final effect. This is the start image and this is the end image. So to start this image, first of all, I'm gonna show you what I did step by step. So let's go and turn off all the layers. First of all, as you can see here, I have painted some shadows below her dress, which makes it like she's actually standing there, not floating in the air. So to paint this type of shadows, it's actually really easy thing to do. All you have to do is create a new blank layer between the background layer and the girl layer, and after that grab your brush tool, and in the brush select a really soft brush like 0% hardness, and after that make sure your opacity is really low, like maybe 10-12%, and make this brush like really big and start painting around her dress like this. At first it will look like you are doing nothing, but after painting it for a few times, and when you will turn it on and off, you can see it actually makes difference. And right now I have this blue color, and that is really stupid, so I'm gonna delete this, again create a new layer, and this time I'm gonna paint a black color. So let me start painting here. As you can see here, if you have a tablet, it can be really easy thing to do, but it is also doable with mouse, so I'm gonna also do it with the mouse. And this way you can like really take your time, sweet time, to paint the shadows. These ones are really big one, like cast shadow. And then when you this like too much, and if you think it's too much, I'm gonna just lower down the opacity a bit. So as you can see here, it is also already, it looks like better. And after that, it's time for contact shadow, and for that make your brush like small and increase your opacity like maybe to 20%, looks fine. And then start painting it again near her dress like this. And after that, when you're happy with your output, I'm just doing it like really rough because it's a really short tutorial. I'm just showing you the way you can do it, so take your time and use Ctrl Z button few times and paint the perfect shadows. And after that, paint it again and again and again, and this time I'm gonna increase opacity like real high to maybe 25 or like 30%, and then I'm gonna paint like really near her dress, exact here like this, and start painting until it looks like she is standing there. And then it looks like really fine to me, like for temporary. So take your time and paint the shadows like this. So as I said, if you are painting big shadows like cast shadow, use a big brush with really low opacity, and as you go near to the object, make a brush smaller and increase the opacity a bit, but make sure it's like not way too much. So I'm gonna make it even smaller and paint here sometimes. So as you can see here, it looks like she is actually standing there. So this is working really fine for me right now. You can also create a layer on top of her and paint on her dress like this, so it blends it with the shadows. that we just painted right now. Looks fine to me, but that's way too much, so I'm gonna decrease the opacity a bit. Maybe 30 looks fine to me, and that also looks a bit fake, but it's like super fast work. So let's go back to our image and let's see. So this is the hue saturation layer. Since, as you can see, the image itself is like really colorful, but the background is saturated, and I want to match the color of this image with this image. So I'm gonna create a new adjustment layer on top of this. Let me just take a minute and name this so I don't screw up like when I have too many layers. And after that, create a new adjustment layer, and I'm gonna create it like exactly on top of her. So I'm gonna select first her, and then I'm gonna create another layer and select hue saturation, and I'm gonna turn down saturation like maybe this looks fine. It is removing some colors so it blends better with the background. And after that, let's go back and see hue saturation. Then after that, a little overall brightness and contrast. So I'm gonna create another layer. You can actually, you know, put it down here and select all this layer and press Ctrl G, so it will group the girl, and you can name it model or whatever you want. So it can be like really easy to handle when you have too many layers. So it's working pretty fine. And as I said just a second ago, I'm gonna create another layer and select brightness and contrast, and I'm gonna add some like little bit of contrast in the image to give it like overall look and feel. Looks fine to me. And after that, color balance. Create another layer and this time color balance. And since usually the night is in the blue color, I'm gonna go back and see the numbers so we don't waste time in experimenting. This took me like maybe 2 or 3 hours to figure out colors, but as I have already done it, I'm just gonna copy the numbers. So in the shadows, 51 and 31. So shadows, I'm gonna use 51 in the reds and 31 in the blues. Let me just select it. And after that, go to highlights. I know I didn't change anything in midtones, so go to highlights, and in the highlights I have -100 and nothing else. So go to highlights, and I'm just gonna make it all the way cyan, so it removes that yellow tone in her skin and gives it overall blue feel. And after that, I have used a gradient map to create overall like to boost that blue color and give it even more contrast. And in the gradient map, as you can see here, you might not have this type of gradients. I think these are only available in CS6, and to find these gradients, click here, and here you have, where are you, photographic toning. When you select this option, you will have all of these gradients. And in the gradients, I'm gonna use, you can use like, there are pretty good blue feel, like these are sepia ones, so I'm not gonna use them, but this blue one can work really good. So use any of this blue, and as you can see here, if I hit cancel, you will have a black color as a default, but instead of black, I have used this color, like really desaturated cyan. So let me make it black. So this is the default gradient you might use, but as you can see, it is like way too much contrast and you have no details in the shadow. So I'm gonna make it like really desaturated blue, so it will help to recover those details I will lost in the shadows, and it also gives it like really nice look. So right now I'm gonna hit cancel, but you can use this trick when you have really strong contrast in your image. So this is the gradient I am using. You can also replicate the colors, it's not big deal. The gradient is like ready-made. And after that, I have used a hue saturation layer. So let me just quickly create that gradient layer here. Maybe, where are you, gradient, here. So I'm just gonna show you quickly how I did that. So this is the gradient. No, sorry, my mistake. I'm gonna use a gradient map. Where are you? So gradient is totally different thing, and gradient map is totally different thing. When you use gradient map, the colors you use on the right gonna work as your highlight, and the colors you use on the left it will work as your shadows. So that is also an important thing you should keep in mind. So I'm gonna use like any of this blue color, maybe this one or this one. No, this is not looking really fine. Okay, this might work. Maybe I'm gonna bring it little bit of here, and in this department I'm gonna use a desaturated blue. Maybe this one looks fine. Right now it is looking terrible, I know that, but don't worry about that. And I'm just gonna hit OK, and after that I'm gonna put this layer on soft light, so it's working like a charm. But as I said that this color is like really not helping, so I'm gonna delete it, and I'm just gonna use this one and make it like even brighter a bit. So this is gonna be a pretty long tutorial than I do usually, but keep patience if you have to learn something. I just can't make it even shorter, so sorry for that. So I'm just gonna hit OK. So as you can see, we have a little different output here, but maybe I can just turn down opacity a bit to help it. And after that, as I said, hue saturation. Why I did that, let's go back and create a new adjustment layer, hue saturation, and this time I'm gonna just turn down lightness a bit. Maybe, I know the number was like 30, and that looks fine. And after that, select your mask, and you can fill black color, or you can directly press Ctrl I, so it will invert the mask and hide all the data. And then grab your brush tool and make sure you have white color as your foreground, and I'm gonna make opacity all the way to 100, make it really big, and I'm gonna paint on this extremely bright pillars. I mean, they are like super bright, so I'm gonna make it a little darker, so it also helps to create some depth in the image, as you can see here. But they are like super strong, so I'm gonna turn down opacity a bit. See, let me turn it on. As you can see here, I also painted it like here something. The light source is coming from here, so I can paint it here, so it will make the foreground a bit darker and help to focus on her subject. So this is going pretty fine till here, and after that I have created a layer to make her look really white. I have seen this kind of thing in quite few images. It makes their skin looks like it's porcelain white or something, I don't know, but it helps to create like good fantasy look. Now this is against the rule of lights. I mean, if the light is coming from here, let me just create a temporary layer and grab some different color, maybe pink. I don't know why pink, but pink. If this is like the light source here, it will definitely make this part really darker. But since it's a fantasy image, I'm not like really caring. I don't care about realism that much, so I'm just gonna delete this. So it's matter of personal choice. You can leave it here or you can work on skin. So I'm just gonna show you how you can do that. So press Ctrl Alt Shift and E, so it will make a JPG inside your Photoshop like this. As you can see here, it's a JPG inside Photoshop. And after that, I'm gonna put this layer on screen blend mode. And if you go back, and I'm gonna, first of all, let's make it simple. I'm gonna apply a layer mask, and as I have shown in my main tutorial, I'm gonna press Ctrl I to hide all the data. And after that, let's go back here and control click on this models layer, and I'm gonna select my mask here back, grab my brush tool and make a really big brush, and I'm just gonna zoom it a bit and paint over her skin, so it will make it like super bright. And I'm just gonna paint white here to remove it from some parts that I don't want, and press Ctrl D. So as you can see, it makes her skin like way too much bright, and it's looking like, okay, it's looking fake, I admit, but it's also a way to create that fantasy looking skin. it's really popular, I don't know. So the another trick is duplicate this layer, the brightness, the white layer we just created for the skin, and then put this one on multiply mode. So as you can see here, it helps to create contrast, but multiply is way too strong, so I'm gonna go with maybe overlay. Still way too strong, so I'm gonna stick with multiply and turn down opacity of this layer a bit. I'm not explaining everything in detail because this is like an intermediate tutorial, so you have to have some basic knowledge about Photoshop. So as you can see here, this two layer helps to enhance her skin. So if you want that fantasy look, you can use this one, no big deal. And after that, let's move on to another topic, I mean another layer actually. So I'm just gonna turn this one on. As you can see here, it helps to create that look, and this is the game changer, like you can say that, curves adjustment layer. It is like most powerful layer in this image. So let me just show you quick. In the RGB, let's create another layer first here so I can show you curves, and I'm just gonna pump it up a bit, maybe slight, not too much, because this is gonna be really strong and this will look like terrible. So I'm just gonna put it till here, that's fine. And after that, let's go to red, and I have done the same thing. So I'm gonna go to red and turn it on slight, and I have done the same thing with the blue. So I'm gonna pump up blue from here. So it's just basically adding blue color in all the shadows and give it like overall blue feel. I'm gonna go back, and after that let's go to green. In the green, I'm gonna go back here, and in the greens I have added slight green color, not very strong, to so this looks really good and it gives overall feel to the image. And as you can see here, the woman is really nicely blending with the background. The light is coming from here, and if you turn it on and off, it's like looks more realistic. And after that, I'm gonna create another adjustment layer, and that is this light coming from here, which is super easy to create. Just create a blank layer, select a brush tool, select a white color, and make a dot like this, yeah, this, and then make it soft light. So as you can see here, it adds some kind of light lick. And after that, I forgot to mention one thing, that when you make the skin white using these layers, it will be really great if you make them black and white. So I'm just gonna press Ctrl Shift U, or you can also go here in image adjustment and desaturate it, so when it's black and white it works better. So after that, let's go back and finish the image. As you can see here, I have this really bright glow here, and for that what you can do is press Ctrl Alt Shift E, and it will create a snapshot inside image, and put this thing on screen blend mode. And then I'm gonna apply a layer mask, and I'm gonna press Ctrl I, so as always it will hide all the data. And I'm gonna select my brush tool, and with white color I'm gonna paint in here, so it will make it super bright here. But you have to make sure that you don't overdo it. Like here, it looks like it is overexposed, so I'm just gonna make it maybe 35%, looks fine to me. And after that, I'm gonna go back and see what I have done. No, not this one. Yeah, this is to create like sort of a vignette. So go to your adjustment layers and select black and white, and put this layer on multiply mode. So it is like super dark right now, but when you select your mask, press Ctrl I as always, and this time I'm gonna zoom out a bit and make my brush like super big. And after that, I'm gonna paint here in this edges, like as you can see here. Now it's way too dark, so for that, as always, I'm just gonna decrease the opacity a bit, maybe 30% looks fine to me. So this helps to create like sort of a vignette. And after that, as you can see here, because we changed the gradient here, the image looks a bit different, but we can fix that a bit. I'm gonna go back and create a vibrance layer and increase the vibrance so it will boost some colors and also add some contrast. So I'm gonna put it maybe on 70%. So it's a tutorial, so I can't always go and fix all the colors. I can show you the methods how I did that and how you can do that, and I would not suggest to use the exact numbers. Try your own different numbers. And the image is almost finished, but just a little touch. And for that, I'm gonna, as you can see here, I have created this beautiful light here, blue light, as you can see here. So for that, it's really easy to create first of all. So I'm gonna go back to my model layer, I mean actually group, and create a layer on top of that, and hold down my alt key and click between two layers. You can also do one thing, right click on that, and there is like option called clipping mask here somewhere. I don't know, just find that. So you can do this thing, I mean when you see an arrow like this, you can click, and after that select a blue type color. I'm just gonna copy this color, so I'm gonna put it on normal and copy this color. And after that, I'm gonna go back here and select my layer and make a like average size brush and make the opacity 100% and paint in here. As you can see here, it's like really rough. I would not suggest working like this ever, but and after that I'm gonna put this layer on screen blend mode, so it looks like she has like really beautiful rim light on top of her dress and skin. So yeah, this is it. The final image is almost ready, so let's just compare it to original. So this is the original image with nothing, and this is the final output. I know it's like bit different from the original image, but it takes time to find proper colors, and I would never upload a 4-hour video tutorial because that's the time it usually takes to create manipulations. So I hope you learned something, and if you have any questions or if you are stuck somewhere, you can always ask me in the comments. I do my best to reply, and if you want some future updates, you can subscribe to my channel and also check out this other tutorials. As always, thanks for watching, take care, and have some fun with Photoshop.